Hey everyone, it's Primer. For today, I wanted to bring some non-Town Hall 14 content. A friend and I founded Cosmic Origins a while back, which has since transformed into a top-level Town Hall 10 team, and actually made it to the semifinals in the Town Hall 10 Queso Cup. I would also like to welcome the legend Aqueedaon to introduce to us the world of competitive Town Hall 10.
Hi, my name is Aqueedaon. I am a player here in Cosmic Origins. I've been playing for the past year, and I started off with the DB10 squad. So this war was a CWL old school war. We were against Darkness, which is one of the top teams to have Marinol and some other really good players at Town Hall 11, 10, and 9.
That's awesome. So, what does the Town Hall 10 meta look like for No Siege? Especially in this war, I've noticed there's a lot of Zap Drags here. So, why Zap Drags? Why is it so strong?
Zap Drag is a very good army, either with Siege or without Siege, and it's mostly because of the value you can get with Zaps. Dragons have so much HP, and the only thing that they can really counter them are the air defenses. And so if you can get those air defenses down and get some other stuff, Dragons can basically plow through any bases.
Would you like to share some of your Zap Drag plans with us?
A very good base to show this idea of Zap Drag is base number 8. Mostly when we want to do drags, we want to get the 80s out, but we also want to try and, create pathing. We don't want those dragons to go wide. We want them to stay tight and just plow through everything. So in this base, when we look at the 80s, we see two 80s in a line on the left side, which means that if we were to take those down, that would create itself a Zap funnel, which means that the whole left side would be destroyed, which means if you were to send dragons on the right side, they would hypothetically be forced to stay in a line. So on this base, we were able to see there's some Zap value around these air defenses. You can grab out the arch towers, but these air defenses are not quakeable, which means that we had to use a separate quake for both air defenses, which is fine. But, sometimes you'd rather get two air defenses with one quake, which makes the attacks way easier. After zapping out these air defenses, you always want to try and start a funnel, but you also want to make sure that your dragons are not going to be under too much DPS. So one thing we like to do here in Cosmic is always only try and fight one air defense at all time, which means that here the air defense at 4 is walkable with the queen, which means later in the attack we can just sui our queen down there and go pick that off. Easy peasy. Now coming to the funnel part of this hit, we usually, like we said, we want to try and enter as tight as possible. So since we zapped out the left side, we're going to try and see how can we send the dragons into that air defense with taking everything around it. So we send a baby dragon at 9, hoping to clear that left side. We're going to send our king to the right side and send everything through the inferno, rage it up when it gets there, and hopefully our dragons are going to take advantage of the rage and take down the queen, the air defense, and everything it needs. So mid-raid, you can also sprinkle in some minions, try and pick off some trash just to make the dragons work a bit faster. And after that, you should find yourself in an easy little triple.
That's great, let's take a look. I'll hit play.
There we go. There's a play. La-da dee, la-da do. Great hit from Melons.
Right, so we've got the Zaps taking out the air defenses. And yep, King's providing funneling up at 11 o'clock. You can also commentate if you'd like to. Or not, that's also fine. Queen's taking the air defense at 4 o'clock. Getting that down. And now, after the core air defense and the queen, there should be no air defense left. And yeah, wow, there's not much DPS on the dragons already, so it's already looking pretty clapped.
Yeah. It was a pretty easy. This base, we left it for last. Pet and Cash were I don't have a plan for this, and I got on, bro, it's an easy Zap Drag. I'm oh, okay.
Yep, it is. Alright, that's a great hit. Is there another base you'd like to talk about?
Let's go look at base number 7, where we can take advantage of having two air defenses being able to be quaked with one only. So, in this hit, as we can see, those two, we're looking for some zaps again that we can also use in a line, same as the last hit. And if we noticed, these two air defenses on the left side, 9, they're both quakeable. So, in this hit, what I did was zap out the 2 air defenses with the arch towers and quake them together, and I can save some spells and use either a rage, but also a heal on this hit. So, for the funnel part, yes, we did the zaps on the left side, but we need to funnel on the right side, which means I'm going to send my king at the 5 o'clock to walk up with a wizard, and I'm going to send a baby dragon at 9 with 2 loons to start cleaning up those both sides and send everything through the inferno. Now, like I said on the last hit, we like to always try and deal with 1 air defense when we're doing drags. So I'm going to try and sui my queen to get 1 air defense. Now, the only one that is actually quite walkable is the one at 1 o'clock, but it's not that easy, which means I would have to try and find a proper angle to try and send her in so she can go get that as fast as possible and without dying. So I sent her at the top at 1 o'clock with 2 giants to tank for her, and mid-raid, she will go take that air defense. When I'm sending my dragons down at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm sending them through the multi, waiting for my dragons to approach the air defense, then I'll send my hound to tank. I will rage on top of the CC, the expo, and the enemy queen, and when I get further into the base, next to the other inferno, that's when I will heal.
That sounds great, and I'm noticing that you're also not going into sweepers. So is that always what you're trying to avoid?
Sweepers are a main thing you want to avoid during dragons. They can push your dragons away from one target and they'll go to another target and they'll start splitting together. It's always good to go behind a sweeper. If not, it's not a big deal if you have a proper funnel. But if you don't, then they can start going out to the trash and they'll start circling around the base, which you don't want.
Great. Okay, so I'll roll the replay at ×2. Just got the zaps. And now we have this nice quake that goes through everything. And again, this face is already looking pretty clapped. 2 seconds into the raid. We got the king working and the dragons. I like how you're deploying the dragons pretty wide, so they kind of push in together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you put them on the wide side, let them collapse in, and then you just put them in a line, and they just do great work. Because you don't want them to all go on. You don't want them to all go on one defense, and then once they're done with that one defense, then they split. You want them to like take defenses at the same time, just so they move in a line.
So wide at the start, and then collapse into a more narrow core.
Exactly. Now, if we look on base 6, I did talk a bit earlier that every base is possible by drags, but not always the most obvious drags. So on this base, we had Casanova decide to do a unorthodox hit on it. And it was only just because we really could not find anything else, so we decided, why not? On this base, instead of zapping out some air defenses normally, we did zap out some air defenses. We decided to zap out the air defense at 6, but we did also decide to put some damage on some other buildings surrounding it. So during this hit at the beginning for the prep, you will see him deciding to zap out the queen and the expo and the sweeper, and then later on finishing this off and zapping out another sweeper. Now, like we said, usually we want to try and get air defenses, but this hit was different. So he really was just trying to create a funnel with his zaps. Again, this expo, again the sweepers, again the air defense in the core, and setting up for dragons. So once he did those zaps, we can see that there's 3 air defenses left. We can see that the one at 1 o'clock is walkable, and the one at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I gotta restart that. I forgot what. You better not include that. So after the zaps in the core, you can realize that there are 2 walkable air defenses, one at 1 o'clock and one at 8 o'clock. Now, we could send our queen on either one, but let's decide. On the one at 9 o'clock, we have some high health buildings and a ground expo that can reach the queen, which means that she would get picked off quite early, and there's a risk that she does not get that air defense. But at 1 o'clock, she can get it fairly easy, simple. But if we leave that one at air defense at 8 o'clock, that can cause trouble to our dragons. So instead, we are going to haste some loons into it, since it's fairly reachable from the outside. So to funnel this base, we have the core gutted. We're gonna funnel out the 6 o'clock with a baby dragon and a dragon. We're gonna send our king at 3 o'clock to work up, and we're gonna send our dragons in a line from 4 to 5. We're gonna send a hound, rage early, and get that air defense, and get the inferno, etc. Now, once we get there, like we said, we want to try and get that air defense down, so we're gonna send our queen up at 1 o'clock. She's gonna take care of that. And simultaneously, we are also going to go get that air defense at 8 o'clock with a haste and a couple loons. Once we get further into the base, close to the multi and the expo, we want to make sure our dragons are topped off, so we're going to heal them. And we're going to put some cleanup and coast through the end of the base.
So yeah, this is definitely quite the unorthodox plan. Let's see how it goes.
I know, we tried to run something else before. Try to run a Zap Pick a Smash, which we've been playing a lot recently, and it also is as strong as Zap Dragon, but just ended up dying out in the core because everything just was able to pick it off from the outside. So we said, you know what, there are no air skellies, let's just go with some Zap Drag. And Kessa came up with this.
Ooh, actually on that note, so since this type of league is 2 hits, what are some perhaps strategies that would be different from a 1-hit league?
Well, mostly because of 2 hits, you know, we don't have to secure the 2-star every single time, which means we can do a plan and end on the town hall. Doesn't really matter. But if this was a league where it was just 1 hit, we want to make sure that the town hall is being secured. So we would have maybe dropped a minion or 2 in the beginning of the raid.
Sounds good. Alright, so maybe any final tips for someone who's learning Town Hall 10, trying to get into competitive play, trying to work on his attacks?
There's a lot of armies you can use at Town Hall 10, and to get good at Town Hall 10 is just to practice these armies over and over and get the timings right, get the base ID right, and just get the funneling right. I think the biggest thing in every Town Hall is funneling, as in Town Hall 14 with Lalo, Town Hall 12 with some drags as well. But at Town Hall 10, if you want to do drags or you want to do certain armies and there's no funnel, it can always go horribly wrong. So it would always to practice and figure out how do you want to funnel a base to make sure that it gets tripled.
Okay, great. Those are some amazing tips. Well, thank you so much. That was really fun. It was awesome to have you here. And I've definitely learned a lot of Town Hall 10. I'll definitely try some of these tips out in Wars.
Have fun watching some war. Let's go. Easy war. This is an easy war, man. This is an easy fucking